Alrighty guys, this video just got released by Tyor. Seems like a cool guy, but in my opinion, it's a perfect example of people jumping on the bandwagon for their own personal gain. Can already hear the comments, ooh, but you're doing the same thing, covering the drama for views and attention. Congratulations, you've pointed out the obvious goal of every drama and news channel in the world, but I admit to that. However, what I don't do in these videos is involve myself personally with the situation and then start a GoFundMe of $1.7 million because I feel sorry for myself. And that's what this Tyor guy just did. As of making this video, he has removed the GoFundMe and started refunding people because he got a lot of criticism. However, I think the $4,000 to $5,000 he's made in ad revenue from the video might play a part. All my complaints in this video about the guy still stand there. I'm first going to summarize the video as always. He starts out by saying he's a video editor, content ideation type guy, and that he got flown out to MrBeast studio for a potential job opportunity. He then pitched some video ideas to the employees at the studio and then flew back home, all expenses paid for. He then got back and was told there was no job spaces available, but his ideas he pitched in the interview were later used in a MrBeast video. Let me start out by saying, I think this guy has the right to be frustrated with Jimmy and the MrBeast company, freedom of speech and all that. However, I think he's blown the entire situation out of proportion for his own financial and personal gain. Starting from the beginning, he tries to make out that the email he got sent by the MrBeast company looks scammy and stuff.
And I got an email in which I thought was a scam. I mean, for real, look at this. Even you would think the same thing if you got a random email saying MrBeast follow-up when you didn't even remember reaching out in the first place. Whether that's true or not, I certainly don't remember reaching out to him.
Okay, buddy, you scrape that barrel and make it sound dramatic. That looks like a pretty normal email to me. No dodgy links, no emojis or dollar signs. I'm just saying. He goes on to list some big companies and YouTubers he's worked for.
In my line of work, I work for big name YouTubers, mostly in the sports niche, but it has its range. I've done videos for House of Highlights, Game Day, Zach TTG, Jesser, Papa Stanimus, Not So Air Jordan, and then I currently edit for MMG. Not to mention I did do the 2022 NFL playoff commercials. So it's pretty normal to have people reach out to me because they've seen my work from other creators and all the other work that I've done for them. So when I got this email, I decided to give it a chance.
Bit of a weird flex. Regardless, he emailed back, went back and forth a bit, and eventually got to the point where he got asked to make a list of ideas for a MrBeast video. That being the most dangerous trap room video, which was already uploaded.
Now, this is the most important email of all. What they want me to do is to do 2 video prompts. Attached, you will find 2 video prompts. Pick one that inspires you the most and document and write out how you envision it. Really let your creativity flow and assume everything is possible. So in each of these prompts, one of them is the world's most dangerous trap room and the other is 24 hours to spend $1 billion. I went with the world's most dangerous trap room because spending $1 billion in 24 hours just seems kind of boring and quite frankly linear. I think I have more creativeness than that.
I think this part was to assess if they liked his ideas and wanted to fly him out for a proper interview. He goes over some of the ideas he put in this list about the trap video, which I think is where he makes a bit of a hiccup. Some of his ideas are good. Something about an elevator that you have to escape before it falls.
And there's locks on each 4 corners of the elevator. So when you get this lock, now you gotta go through the maze again. And now you gotta go and take this lock out and like that so you can escape the elevator. If you don't, the whole thing just plummets to the ground. I thought that was a pretty dope idea, right?
I think that's pretty cool. But he does at one point just include the Squid Game's glass floor thing as an idea. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that sounds a bit hypocritical to complain about having your ideas get used if you're just going to copy another idea yourself.
In the second variation of the Squid Games, I say Mario style, floating obstacle course. Instead of using floating blocks, which is impossible, we will use floating rack hoisted by 4 cranes. Floating rack hoisted 200 feet in the air. Each section of the obstacle course will change depending on the distance made. Start from one platform to another to advance. Safety harness will be eliminated due to the net underneath the platform.
He does do a variation of the challenge below it, I guess, but I think you see what I'm getting at. The next 5 minutes of the video are just explaining he flew over to do the interview and there's a load of different studio setups there. You can go watch that part for yourself. I think it's a whole lot of nothing. I do respect if he was just trying to get the extra mid-roll ad in his video. The game's the game. His major point in this whole video, though, is that he says he was in a meeting at the studio, pitched an idea about some obstacle course being high up in the air and related to Mario. His whiteboard of ideas is what you see on screen. He then claims that the MrBeast team completely stole his idea and didn't credit or pay him for it. This is because after he did this whole interview process, he went back to his hotel, which was paid for, flew home, which was paid for, and then got back safe and sound. Soon after that, he got an email saying they unfortunately couldn't offer him any work or a position at the company. way. But once the obstacle course video eventually came out, they used his idea from his interview in the video.
Taking a look at this picture right here. So this was my idea here. I wanted to make an obstacle course in the air, but like somehow incorporate it with the Mario idea. Somehow just, I don't know, somehow do that. This is a picture that I drew for this pitch for this idea. And I realized that, you know what, I couldn't do the floating block, so I wanted to make sure I can do it another way. So I had an idea of a truss with 4 cranes holding it up, and I wanted to be able to go across it.
Fair enough. In the Mr. Beast video, it does sort of look like this. I think he is 200 foot up and there is a big net, but how else are you going to stop someone from falling at that height? And then, yeah, I'll be honest, the money mechanic thing, there is a bit in the video where he has to go back and forth to get $100,000 worth of bags. There's a few other things. The cookie bridge at the end is in the video to do with the Squid Game cookies that Mac has previously failed on in past Mr. Beast videos. Fair enough. It's his idea, I suppose, but also I imagine the team that was at Mr. Beast also had these ideas. It wasn't just him. He said he was in a meeting discussing ideas with them until 12, so he's taken all the credit for 4 or 5 people's work. I don't know, I wasn't there. Show me a 6-hour long recording of this meeting and fair enough, I might agree with you, but can I trust that this is 100% his work with nobody else's input? Not really. Now, maybe it's just me, but that kind of just sounds like a bit of tough luck. Fine, you're annoyed they used a similar idea to yours in a future video. Fair enough, they took a couple of days out of your time, flew you out, all expenses paid for. But if I'm being honest, that sounds like a fun couple of days out. I know I have a bias in this situation. I'm a broke teenager. However, this kind of gives me the feeling that the guy was just a bit butthurt he didn't get the job. We've all been turned away after an interview, probably in much more brutal ways than this. I remember getting an interview at Audi. For my Americans, that's basically a Walmart. And after going through hours of online assessments, back and forth in email, trying to schedule an interview, I then turned up, got told I did well in the interview and when I'd be able to start. And then I got an email a few days later saying the position was no longer available. Shit happens. I know it's not a perfect comparison, but trying to justify that Mr. Beast owes you the whole $1.7 million budget for the video is a bit of a stretch, especially when your idea was about having some hovering platforms with some swinging hammers. Not saying it's a bad idea, but it's not the most inventive thing in the world. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the guy doesn't have a right to be annoyed. He admits he got nervous and excited in being invited for the interview. That's completely understandable. But just trying to ruin a man or company's credibility just because you get a bit upset after someone potentially used your idea in a video is a little bit cringe. Now, of course, I know I'm leeching off the situation as well, but I think making some jokes and covering some already known information in a video is a little bit different. Maybe it's not and you think I'm a complete hypocrite. And to be honest, that's fine, because it probably means you've already typed out your comment and have given this video more attention in the algorithm than if you would have just said nothing.